What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Cash It. I'm Howard Bender. Adam Ronis here by my side. What's up, Ronis? How's the world treating you right now?
It's pretty good, man. Busy time as always. Lots of football, middle of the season here. Already week 10. Got NBA going on. So always a busy time.
Always a busy time. Last week could very well have been one of my worst weeks for betting, for picks. I think it was just not a good week for me. I crushed in season long, and I got my head handed to me by betting. It was very upsetting for me. So I'm looking for a big rebound this week, man. Big rebound.
Yeah, it wasn't good for me either, betting. I mean, I think we agreed on a lot, so maybe that's why. Season long, it was not a good week for me. It's been one of those years where I feel like in a lot of leagues I have so many points against, and even in my home league where we do double headers, right? I'm 8-10, and I have more points than two teams that are 13-5. And this is with double headers. So, I mean, it's not like every league I'm doing great, but it feels like there are leagues where I'm doing well and the record is not reflective. I do have some bad teams, though, as well. But it's been one of those frustrating years, I think, so far. So I'm just looking to try and sneak into the playoffs in a few leagues. And then we know the landscape just changes dramatically, right? You look at the Bears offense the first 4 weeks, you're like, oh, my God, got to get out. And now you're like, oh, Justin Fields is a QB1 the rest of the way, top 5 quarterback, so that's why I tell people, no matter how bad it looks, if you're 3-6, you're looking at a team in first, like, oh, this team's unbeatable. Things change drastically. So you just got to keep putting your best lineup out there and just get into the playoffs. Like I had Justin Fields in the GST league. I dropped him because I drafted Dak and Fields is the second quarterback. Dak obviously got hurt week 1. All right, now I'm starting Fields week 2. Oh, boy, that is horrendous. I don't remember if I started in week 3 too. I probably did. And then that was when the Bears offense was just horrendous. They didn't even pass. Like he had, 11 pass attempts, 12 pass attempts. They looked awful. There was no creativity. They didn't have them go on the run. So I'm like, all right, well, I can't start Fields. I don't want to hold 3 quarterbacks. Time to cut him loose. Yeah, the first 3 weeks, 17, 11, and 17 pass attempts, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he wasn't even running. 28 yards, 20 yards, 47. I had to cut him, went with Mariota, then went with Geno Smith, and then someone else picked up Fields and is getting rewarded with phenomenal weeks over the last 3 weeks, especially this past week. So that's how quickly the landscape could change. The Colts, we were feeling good about them early in the year. Now we want no part of them. So it can happen, and that's why you just got to hang in there and try and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's really funny. One of the things, you bring up Justin Fields. Think about all those people who dropped Darnell Mooney, and sat there for the first 5 weeks, be like, this guy sucks. This guy sucked. I want nothing to do with him. And now I guaranteed Mooney's probably more of a thing moving forward the rest of the way than a lot of people expected. It's one of those things where, now, I mean, listen, I get it. It's week 10, but we've actually seen Fields show marked improvement now over the last, 5 games that we've seen. So, to me, the lesson learned is when you build your bench, when you're building your bench and you're picking these guys, these, late round, high upside guys who hopefully have a path towards something, if they don't do anything in the first week or 2 of the season, you don't drop them in order to just pick up some flavor of the week who did something great, for 1 week. I mean, yes, obviously there are situations where you use waiver priority or whatever, and you pick up a Kenneth Walker. And you hold a guy like that. But Kenneth Walker obviously could have been a guy that you stashed the whole way. I guess my big thing about it is that all the people who dropped players haphazardly for the first 3 or 4 weeks, rotating guys in and out of their benches, keeping 3 tight ends on one roster because they want to play tight end roulette. This is the lesson learned, because they don't have the opportunity to add a Justin Fields, or they don't have the opportunity now to add a Darnell Mooney or just anybody. Jeff Wilson Jr., who's, probably the biggest waiver wire darling ad this week. we saw what he was doing with Miami. And so, it just, I chalk it up to you got to learn the lesson that rotating out guys. And I mean, because there are people, I guarantee you, that went from like, KJ Hamler to, Michael Gallup to D. Eskridge to Jarvis Land, and just kind of kept rotating them out like that instead of actually putting together a group of bench players who, you could kind of afford to wait on and see how they develop.
Yeah, I mean, you do need to be patient. I mean, I have Mooney in multiple leagues. I'd never considered dropping him. And obviously feel much better about him now. And this week, good matchup against Detroit. So, yeah, I think it depends. Like if you drop Cole Kmet, I can't blame you.
Right.
He was giving you nothing, and I did. I was very high on Cole Kmet. I dropped him in pretty much every league I had him, and I did get him back in one league today for cheap because I have Darren Waller in that league, and I don't know if that guy's ever going to play again. So need to have someone ready on standby. But yeah, I mean, there are situations where the drop is valid. Other times people are just too impatient and know that it's a long season and things can change. And the Bears is the perfect example. And, we kind of saw no signs of it, but you also had to figure, okay, there's no way an NFL team can have their quarterback throw 17, 11, and 17 pass attempts throughout the entire season. It cannot happen.
I said it early in the season. I was like, there's no way. Like when people kept asking me about dropping Mooney, I was like, there's no way the Bears are going to stay this bad the rest of the way. Either the coach will get fired or they'll bench Fields, whatever the case may be. There was no way they were staying that bad. And so when they do figure it out and they do click, I want Darnell Mooney because that's the wide receiver one in that offense. And that's the guy who's going to see the bulk of the targets when they do click. And that's what I'm there for with Darnell Mooney. And I said that to a ton of people. And of course, everybody, at that point was like, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And now they're all like, oh man, I wish I had Mooney on my roster now. I wish I listened to Bender.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know for us, we don't play in a lot of shallow leagues, and he was probably dropped in none of our leagues, but I am helping a friend with his office league, and that's more of a casual league, not deep benches. Someone dropped Mooney in that league, and I picked him up from my friend last week and probably going to start him this week. So It can happen.
It can definitely happen. By the way, the GST League, did you see? Yeah, you're co-owner of my team because you want access over here. Did you see what Team Bender did to Michael Salfino's team?
Yeah, man. Because you had Mixon, right? And Mahomes,
I had Mixon,
and Kelsey.
I had Mahomes, I had Kelsey, Christian Kirk and Curtis Samuel both did well. I mean, it was quite the day.
Yeah, I see that. You're doing very well. I am not doing well in my opinion. I am 4-5, and I'm going to have to probably get in on points. I have a shot, but I need a 200-point week. That's the issue. Is I'm going to need one desperately. I think there's potential with some of the players I have, but it has not been going well. So hopefully I can somehow get in. We have an undefeated team in our league.
You have an undefeated team in your league?
Yeah.
Who is it?
It is, oh my God, what's his name? He's a high stakes player. And I did like his draft. I remember it's, oh my God. It is, hold on. Anthony Castelleo, right? Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, and I played him and he barely beat me. I mean, the team is good. Burrow, Eckler, Swift, Boyd, Hopkins, McLaurin, Fant, Dillon, Metcalf, Freiermuth, Njoku, Sutton. Okay. But I don't even, is he first in points? He might not be. He is not first in points. He's only eight behind the next guy. So
see, at least the points leader in our conference here is also the first place team with the best points. What is it? 1,416.
Okay, first in our league is 1,422.
Okay. How many 1,400-point teams do you have in yours?
2.
Yeah, us too. I'm the other one.
Okay, good for you.
Do you remember how much I hated my draft after
Yes,
this?
I do.
That's the ironic
and you know what?
thing.
That is the perfect summary of this year. Because when you think your team sucks, it's good. When you think you have a great team, it's bad. Like, this has just been an insane year. Because
No. Kyle Pitts in the third round was a bad decision, especially when I took Kelsey in the first.
yeah, you thought it was FFPC rules?
No, I was just kind of, because I know that, there's certain people in my league who really liked Kyle Pitts. I was having a conversation with somebody about it, and I mean, it was just, it was one of those things where it was like, if Kyle Pitts is there in the third round, at the end of the third round, I mean, it's almost you have to take him kind of a conversation. And I was like, yeah, I could definitely do that. Having two flexes in the league, I figured if Kyle Pitts hit, then beautiful. I could flex Pitts the entire time. Kelsey is my tight end. When Kelsey's on a bye, I replace him with Pitts. When Pitts is on the bye, it doesn't matter. He's in my flex spot anyway. So I kind of felt like I was taking a top tight end off the board from everybody else while still knowing that I was going to be able to play them both at the same time. And who knew that I would much rather have played, I don't even know, a piece of shit with a smile on it. Rather play that than Kyle Pitts, because he's just been, I mean, just a disaster.
Well,
just
one of the reasons why you're good is having Mahomes and Kelsey. If you got an elite tight end this year, because there are hardly none, and you have a top quarterback, you're in good shape. I mean, because if you look at the starts of my draft, you probably be like, oh, it's pretty good. Cooper Kupp, right? Can't fault that, right?
Oh, you know what? Before, I almost want to shit on all of your players right now. How are you feeling about the fact that Matthew Stafford just went into concussion protocol on Wednesday because he was exhibiting symptoms? That's not a good thing for Stafford for this weekend.
Well, no, it's not. But the Rams offense is just get it in the hands of Kupp, fuck everyone else. So,
so that's Wolford's job right there.
Exactly. Just you see Cooper Kupp, just throw him the ball every time. Okay, I can do it. Then this one looks bad now. Michael Pittman end of round 2, but at the time in the first 4 or 5 weeks with Ryan, we're feeling good. ETN in round 3. And obviously first few weeks not good. Now loving it. Round 4, Mooney. Okay. I mean, it's the guys I passed on because I picked 4. So the guys who went after Mooney, Akers, Bateman, Deontay Johnson, Gabe Davis, Judy Godwin, really didn't miss anything there. Hollywood Brown in round 5. Hollywood Brown was tearing it up before he got hurt. That is a huge loss because, again, we have the extra flex in this league. But Hollywood Brown was, before he got hurt, he had 3 straight games, 3 of his last 4 games, at least 20 points in a PPR. So that was a big loss. So I don't regret that pick, but yeah, it's but I don't have the elite tight end and I don't have an elite quarterback. And, unless Dak finishes strong or Geno Smith, but they're not up there. I drafted Cole Kmet and obviously cut him. I do have now Greg Dulcich, who I like a lot. I think he's going to finish strong.
I hope he finishes strong. I just had this whole conversation about Russell Wilson this week. It's a good matchup against Tennessee's shitty secondary. That the Titans are just going to run the ball all over the place, and it's just going to be Derrick Henry and Vrabel. I mean, the Titans play at the slowest pace of any team. Vrabel's just going to control the clock, and he's going to control the game. He's going to utilize that, but that's going to put Denver on its heels a little bit, I think, and kind of force them into passing a little bit more because they're going to be behind early because they can't really stop the run that well. And so I'm like, out of all the garbage that's sitting on your waiver wire right now at the quarterback position, something tells me that at the top of that heap, Russell Wilson's just chilling out there. People have just abandoned him. And so the question is do you look to a Russell Wilson this week as a possibility? And if so, could this be a good, solid game finally for him and Judy and Cortland Sutton?
I'm not convinced. Now, maybe the bye week helps fix things. But, yeah, Tennessee's been really good against the run. So that's probably going to be a problem for Denver. I mean, they could. I mean, but I haven't seen Russell Wilson on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues. But I don't think you can feel great about starting him though. He should be forced to throw a little bit more this week. And you hope that over the bye week, him and Sutton got on the same page because Sutton's had some down games lately. And we've seen Dulcich come along. So I think you just have to hope, okay, maybe the bye helped them, get things together a little bit. But I'm not convinced. That's going to be a low scoring game.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be a low-scoring game, no doubt about it. But it would be nice if Dulcich actually did something that we actually could kind of get excited about it, because no, there's nothing exciting about the tight end position in any way, shape, or form. I went to the site to look at my draft, and I look at my draft, and I'm like, wow, I hate this as much today as I did yesterday. Joe Mixon in the first round, Travis Kelce in the second. And then God struck me dumb and made me take Kyle Pitts in the third. Elijah Mitchell in the fourth. Hello, IR. Sitting behind Christian McCaffrey now. Pat Mahomes in the fifth. Christian Kirk in the sixth. I'll tell you, you want to know where the money picks are? The money pick right here, Josh Jacobs in round 8. Round 8!
Yeah, man. I mean, people were very down on Josh Jacobs this year, So, and I could understand why, but yeah, round 8 seems really, really late. He has been hit or miss. He's obviously had that 3-week stretch where he was unbelievable, but we have seen the downside of him over the last 2 weeks, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he had against the Saints where no one showed up for that team. They didn't even get off the plane. 10 carries, 43 yards, 2 catches, 11 yards. And then even last week against Jacksonville, where they blew the lead, 17 for 67, 3 for 20. So, 11.7, you'll take it in a PPR, but no touchdowns. And then he had no touchdowns the first 3 weeks. So it looks great because he had that stretch of 6 touchdowns in 3 games with at least 143 rushing yards in 3 straight. But then you've kind of seen mediocre games surrounding that. So in the end, he's definitely going to outproduce where he was drafted. But the Raiders are just such a bad team, man. Like, they lost a lot of close games early on, but you blew the lead against Jacksonville last week. Like, you can't lose that game, and then you don't show up against the Saints. They've been a very odd team this year.
They've been a really odd team. It's very tough to invest in them. I sadly did in the Scott Fish Bowl with my my big Raiders stack that I leaned on. So bad, so horrendous, so awful. I mean, at least it was Derek Carr with Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, as opposed
Carr
to
sucked too, bro. But
he's been terrible, dude.
So many of these guys this year. That's the thing. And I think we discussed a little bit. You don't have one of these top quarterbacks and you waited this year, like, you got absolutely screwed. And I'm very interested to see how it translates in the early drafts after the season. Are people going to push the quarterbacks up and shoot for Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, or are they going to be like, it's an outlier, it's a bad year, offensive line play was down? Because, I mean, if you had Brady, Russell Wilson, Carr, Stafford, my goodness, you're just like, my team sucks.
Waiting on quarterback was literally the worst. Like, I mean, everybody who waited on quarterback, I'm sure everybody who waited on quarterback has spent some sort of fab bidding on Geno Smith this year.
Oh, I did in one league. Well, like I said, the GST, because I had Dak, he got hurt, and then I couldn't play Fields early. Mariota had a couple good games, and then it was like, okay, they're never going to throw. And I'm like, yeah, I got to get Geno Smith. I mean, and if you would have told me that before the year, I would have been like, no fucking way. No way.
Zero chance I will have Geno Smith on any of my teams. Zero chance. And he's starting for me at quarterback in 3 leagues right now.
He is playing so well too, man. It's amazing. His transformation and just his accuracy. He just looks so good out there. And the fantasy numbers have not been monster numbers, but he's running a little bit. 38 rushing yards last week, 26 the week before. Multiple touchdown passes in 3 consecutive games in 6 of the last 7. Doesn't sound like much, but when you compare him to the other quarterbacks in the league right now, you're like, hey, I get 2 touchdown passes and 200 plus yards. Yeah, give it to me. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's nothing outstanding, but he's been productive and you didn't pay much for him. And it's better than, you can't play Aaron Rodgers right now. Like, I don't even know how people roster Aaron Rodgers after what we've seen the last few weeks.
Oh my God,
he shouldn't have even been in your lineup against Detroit. I know it was a great matchup, but 3 horrible interceptions, and you're throwing David Bakhtiari, who's coming off an injury, and you're asking this guy to fucking catch a touchdown pass. I mean, come on.
Dude, because listen, I thought, I mean, this matchup against Detroit with the way that the Packers had been losing and the shit that Rodgers has been taking, that I just thought that, I mean, definitely for me, DFS wise, it lined up as, Rodgers wanted to, exact some revenge, and what better way to take out 4 weeks worth of frustration and losses than to get to face the Detroit Lions pass defense. And dude, I was sick to my stomach. So here's the funny thing. On the Fantasy Alarm Show on Friday, dude, I said we're going to manifest what we want from our players this week. And I tried as hard as I could to manifest 285 yards and 3 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. I know I was shooting for the moon on that one.
Dude, it was never going to happen.
But I tried to manifest it. Dude, he threw for 283 yards, but instead of 3 touchdowns, it was 3 picks, all made either at the goal line or in the fucking end zone. Horrible. Yeah,
this whole team has been horrendous this year. So watch them show up this week and play well against my Cowboys.
Oh, there's 0 chance I bet that game at all because of that fear.
Yeah,
but I mean, but it's the Cowboys on the road. If it was the Cowboys at home, I'd be taking the Packers plus the points, no doubt about it, because the Cowboys are always like favored by too much at home when they do that. But now it's on the road. To me, I'll look at that and be like, I mean, it's only a 5-point spread.
So I mean, in Green Bay, you would have never thought that before the year, though.
They're so bad. Could you imagine your Dallas defense against fucking Aaron Rodgers and the Cripple Creek State Teachers College offensive line that they're throwing out there?
Yeah, I know, but still a little worried about it. I mean, they should win. Don't get me wrong. But,
you're hedging. Look at you.
I mean, look, this team's lost 5 in a row, man. They've lost 5 in a row. I didn't realize they played 3 straight road games after playing 3 straight home games. So very, very odd scheduling there. But yeah, I mean, look, they're not a good football team. They're just not. And I mean, they got good news. Aaron Jones is practicing. Looks like he'll play. Dobbs going to be out. Looks like Watson's going to be okay. But yeah, they're just a mess. And I see a lot of times Rodgers is dropping back to pass and throwing deep, and I'm like, it's not working. Why you keep doing this, man? I don't know. It's just they're a mess.
Hot, sizzling mess. No doubt about it. Anything else fantasy football wise that, some words of wisdom to endow on people maybe as they go into week 10? Are you stashing Odell Beckham? Will Odell Beckham be a Cowboy? All these questions that everybody wants to know. This has been the week where everybody's picking up Cleveland Browns pass catchers, right? Njoku's back.
Well, we don't know if he's back.
No. I mean, he's supposed to be back. Yeah, he's questionable for the week. Correct.
Yeah, he might not play. I mean,
he might not play.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is what everybody's doing is they're grabbing Cleveland pass catchers because it's almost Deshaun Watson time.
Well, I love Donovan Peoples-Jones this week against Miami. That's going to be a shootout. Miami's defense has been terrible. Like, that's going to be a fun game this week. So I think you could start Peoples-Jones this week.
His target rate has gone up since Njoku went down. And he's definitely been carrying the load a little bit better. Yes, I agree with you. I love him in this matchup, no doubt about it. But I'm talking about like people doing a lot of stashing. You know what I'm saying? Like grabbing Odell Beckham. If Jameson Williams is sitting there on the waiver wire because there's no IR, people are starting to do that, making moves like that. How far in advance are you looking week to week in order to make a move like that?
I don't have teams that can afford to do that this year, so I'm not doing that. I would.
You're with the poor people, huh?
Yeah, I am. It's I'm not in that position. I think those are the teams that are like doing like 8-1. You can afford to do that in a deep roster. I still would have trepidation about Beckham. I mean, he hasn't even signed yet. When is he going to be ready to play? Week 13, week 14, and then it's a new offense. Okay, maybe they have a handful of plays. We saw Hawkinson come in and perform well. Hawkinson's healthy though, but we saw other situations. Claypool didn't have great numbers. He did draw a pass interference, had an impact. Nyheim Hines barely played. He played 3 snaps. So every situation is different. But like, if you want to add Beckham in a league with 20 roster spots, fine. But what are your expectations for him? Like, it can't be high. What is he going to do? Come in there and go 4 for 80 and a touchdown immediately? I mean, you can't expect that. Jameson Williams, I mean, people were already stashed him early in the year thinking he'll be back. I mean, we're in November. Oh, we hope he's back in December. And this is a team that's going to be out of it. So you got to be careful with that. I know there's not much on this. Is week 10, I think, is the worst waiver wire of the season in deeper formats. There's nothing out there. There's some leagues where I'm like, all right, I'm not even putting in a bid. And I never do that. I'll put in a small token bid on something. It is bad this week, at least in the deeper formats. There's not much out there at all. So I could see why people in deeper formats that are doing well maybe want to stash someone if you have a deeper bench. You have 5 or 6 bench spots, really hard to stash. We still have bye weeks and injuries and everything, so I think it's harder to stash. But again, you got to temper your expectations for guys like Beckham and Jameson Williams. Like, what do you expect them to do?
No, I totally get that. I said to people who've asked me about it, and my standard answer is, if you're 6-3 or better, you can consider it if you have space on your bench. Like, you need to be dropping that backup tight end, or you need to be dropping Darius Slayton, or something like that, in order to make that move, in order to grab the player and stash him away. You have to be in that kind of a winning spot. And I agree with you. You wonder what these guys, like week 13 and 14, these are crucial weeks for, if I win, I'm in the playoffs. The win and you're in scenario always happens around there. And are you going to trust Odell Beckham in your lineup? Are you going to, even Deshaun Watson to that point, he's coming back week 12.
I think isn't it 13?
Week 13, yeah,
it's
week 13 against the Texans.
There's no script on that, but
yeah, no. It's all on the up and up. It's all legit.
Let's see. Let's suspend them. How many games? When do they play the Texans? Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah. Leave it to the fucking NFL to like milk every dollar out of every scenario, both good or bad.
And by the way, week 14, 6 teams on bye.
Oh, another bye-mageddon over there on week 14 too. Yeah. So that's going to be that's a tough situation.
Last week of the fantasy regular season in a lot of leagues. So you got to be really careful with that. I mean, there are a couple of teams in there where we don't use many players. The Colts, I mean, by then, who knows? The Falcons, right? I mean, it's their running backs. I mean, you don't feel good about Pitts or Drake London. Washington, McLaurin,
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, so that the Bears, I mean, Bears went from like, we don't want anyone. Oh, give me Fields, give me Mooney. So the Packers and the Saints. So not like powerhouse, but still, I mean, you could have one player on 3 of those teams. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Kamara from the Saints, and then you take
Olave.
What's that? Olave. Yep. So yeah, there are a lot of listen, it's it'll get you at some place. Dude, it's so funny. In the Kings Classic, 14-teamer with fairly deep benches and 3 flex spots also that you're dealing with. No depth whatsoever available on the waiver wire. And I, who have like withstood a Javonte Williams and a Breece Hall injury in the Kings Classic, I have no running backs for this week. I have like 3 running backs on my roster, and they all have a bye this week. And so I ended up having to pick up. Are you ready for this? My starting running backs.
Go ahead.
Kenneth Gainwell, Avery Williams.
Oh my God, that is the bad one. At least Gainwell has an opportunity to score. I believe Washington is number 2 in DVOA against the run. So if they have to pass a little bit more, that's good for Gainwell. He can get a goal line carry, so that's not the worst. But Avery Williams, what is he, like 4th on the depth chart now? 5th with Patterson back? Oh boy.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that he returns a kick or a punt for a
There you
touchdown.
go. Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm at. I mean, it was either Avery Williams or Amir Abdullah.
Yeah. It's not good either way.
No, it's really not good.
That's
It's
what
not
happens in
good.
a 14 or 16 team league with buys, man.
Brutal. But dude, I'm 6-3. I'm third overall. I've withstood those the running back losses. I feel like the gods are kind of smiling on me in that league, and Avery Williams is gonna suddenly like turn out and do something like randomized. It's Carolina, right? They suck. The worst. I tried using the Carolina defense last week in DFS.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. If it wasn't for the fact that I had so much Joe Mixon this year, I would have been devastated about week 10. Like that was the best part about it. Was I was looking at all my teams that I drafted early. I was like Mixon and Javonte Williams. And it was just and it was fantastic. If I didn't get Mixon and I got Javonte Williams, okay, that was one league there. But if I didn't get Javonte Williams, but I got me some Joe Mixon, it felt really good. There's nothing better than watching your guy score 5 touchdowns and then going through your leagues and being like, oh, I have so much of this guy. Oh, this is great. No, you don't know that feeling this year?
Oh, not that. No, I did not have Mixon anywhere. Not that I didn't like him, but I was taking like Barkley and Diggs in that area.
Dude, Diggs, the Josh Allen situation is going to be. This is a little crazy though. I know he dealt with it. He said he dealt with it before, but this is a UCL issue. It's fucking up his elbow. It's affecting the nerves. So he's having trouble gripping the ball also. I kind of don't think that he plays this week. I think
he won't. You've already seen the Vegas line, right? It's down.
Oh, dude, it dropped from. So I wrote it up for picks wise. I was sitting there on like Monday, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'll write up the Vikings Bills game. Bills -6 at that point, and then all of a sudden, all the Allen stuff just poured out, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, okay, now I got to write this article about not Josh Allen. Double revenge game narrative here.
Yes, Case Keenum
and Diggs.
I think Diggs will be fine. I'm not downgrading him. I worry more about Gabe Davis.
What's the worry? The dude's so boomer bust.
I know. That's the thing. I mean, the target share has not been there, and if he's not getting a long play, then it's been a problem for him this year.
It's been terrible for him this year.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
Right, that's it.
All right, well, I want to talk some more football, but we'll go through the rest of the games. We'll go through all the games and we'll make our picks. But we are an all sports podcast here, so I want to jump real quickly from the gridiron to some MLB. Adam, free agency opens up tomorrow. The question I think on everybody's mind is whose heart is going to break first, yours or mine, when Aaron Judge signs anywhere but the Yankees and Jacob deGrom goes to the Braves.
He better not go to the Braves, man. Like, that would really fucking suck. And the bottom line is, too, I'm pretty sure the Mets are giving him whatever he wants. So if he leaves, it's because he didn't want to be here. It's pretty clear at this point. I don't think the Mets are going to shy away from money. They paid Edwin Diaz. I don't think money's going to be an issue. So, there's been conflicting reports. I know Zach Wheeler is like, oh, deGrom wants to stay there. He likes New York. He just wants to be paid appropriately. So we'll see. I mean, obviously I would like him back, but again, it depends what else they do. I would definitely like him back. He's a homegrown Met. He was the one guy that pitched well down the stretch in the big games for the Mets. He did not fail to show up like Scherzer and Bassett. He was good. You always worry about the injuries with him. So I don't expect 30 starts from him. And I guess that's the issue of like, do you want to spend big money on this guy? But again, money should not be an issue for the Mets. So I'm hoping he's there. Yeah. And Judge, it sounds like San Francisco is a real possibility, right?
I hope not, and I'm trying to manifest it not happening. I'm being very cautious after the Aaron Rodgers incident. But dude, I just don't want him on another team. I don't want. I mean, listen, I get it. It's gonna cost a ton, and with the way that the Steinbrenners are kind of running the team right now, it's they're not looking to spend so much money anymore. So I worry a little bit about that. But I mean, listen, there are a ton of names out there right now besides Judge and DeGrom. Trey Turner is a free agent. You got
I would love Turner on the Mets, but I don't see it happening because he probably wants to play shortstop, and they're not going to move Lindor.
No, they're probably not going to move Lindor, which takes you also out of the Xander Bogaerts running too, doesn't it?
Unless he's willing to play second. I mean, I'd much rather have Turner though than Bogaerts. I mean, Bogaerts' a very good player, but I mean, the Mets have a lot of work to do with that pitching staff, man. I mean, Bassett opted out. Carrasco's a free agent, so they have a lot of work to do. Bullpen, pretty much almost everyone there. I mean, at least they brought Diaz back. So yeah, I mean, got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. You got to get yourself some Brandon Nimmo, right? You got to make sure that he's locked in still.
Mm-hmm. He's a free agent.
Got a lot of guys out there. We're going to have a full free agent tracker over at fantasyalarm.com so you can follow where all the MLB players are going. And as we kind of move through it and we see where everybody goes, what do you think, Adam? Whose heart breaks first, mine or yours?
Mine.
You think yours breaks first?
Yeah, looking for the reverse jinx.
From the diamond to the hardwood, let's talk about a little NBA. Adam, how's the betting world going for you? Last week you gave us a couple of names to look at for props coming up throughout the next couple of days. Can we do a little some of that for everybody out there right now? Obviously, your article on PicksWise comes out on Friday, but sort of keeping a watchful eye on certain guys or certain props that maybe the market hasn't corrected itself properly.
I mean, I'm continuing to roll with my same guys. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's been cashing his points prop every game except one. It was against the Bucks. And I should have known. I'm like, Bucks are number one team in defensive efficiency. And I should have known. So, in fact, Wednesday night, he's facing the Bucks. And I was like, yep, not playing it. Then Giannis and Drew Holiday were ruled out. So I said, I am playing it. My Tyrese Halliburton, that is my dude. I keep going with him. I did again Wednesday night, 29.5 points and assists. You can look at that. That's kind of where it's been around. So it's still in a range where we can play it. Steph Curry is another guy I looked at Monday night when everyone was playing. I'm like, the Warriors were coming off was it 4 or 5 straight losses? They sat all their starters the previous game. I'm like, he is going to go off against the Kings. And I did the points assist. The points prop was 27.5. He scored 47. So, and he's been taking a lot of shots. And so I'm looking at his points prop. Jason Tatum has been really good for props. With Siakam out, look at Fred VanVleet. It was only 19.5 points on Wednesday night against the Rockets, who are one of the worst teams in the league. So that's something to look at. Michael Porter has been crushing his 3-point prop. It's been 2.5. He's gone over it in every game except I think the first game of the year when he had 2. It is getting juiced up though, so I parlayed it with something. But yeah, you want to take advantage of injuries. Zion Williamson's pretty good with his points prop. Yeah, Tatum's been phenomenal. Lauri Markkanen's been great for Utah. They're the biggest surprise or one of the biggest so far in the NBA. Sitting at 9-3 going into Wednesday. Yeah, so, I mean, again, you're just looking for certain players, spots. John Morant's been pretty good. Devin Vassell from the Spurs. The Cavs have been really good. Good start for them, 8-2. Darius Garland. Mitchell's been great, but his props were high when Garland was out. But, yeah, it's been an interesting start to the NBA. So far, but yeah, it's been pretty good on props so far for me.
how's your fantasy basketball game going right now?
I only do 2 season-long leagues. My home league has been, I think I'm like a game or two over 500, and it's I keep running into great teams every week because it's head to head. We do 9 categories, and I'm like, damn, why is this game so close? And then I'll go look at other teams. I'm like, my God, I'd be beating this team 7-2. So instead, I'm winning like 5-4 every week. This past week it was 4-1-1. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So that's just a kind of bad draw on the schedule. And then,
did you ask Papoose if you could use endangered species as your team name?
I did not. I didn't know I had to ask for that.
I don't know. I mean, do you need to ask for that? I'm looking at the standings in your league right now because the first place team was very, very proud of herself.
Yeah.
For finally being in first. So she screenshot it for me.
Yeah. My team is good. I have Kyrie Irving and he's suspended. So I'm hoping that he comes back. And then I did I guess they're calling it a SiriusXM Fantasy Experts League. That they broadcast. I thought it was a RotoWire league because it was mostly RotoWire guys, but I am in first place in that one.
Oh, well, there you go. You better be in first place, dude.
Well, I mean, I had picked 12, which is not ideal, and they had me on. And I said, look, my team, a lot of people are going to look at it and say it's boring because there were a lot of people in there who are reaching for players and, looking to take all these young players. I said, okay, I'm just going to take the value that falls to me. And my start to the draft was Karl-Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, DeMar DeRozan, and Drew Holiday. Veterans that are kind of boring, but they all produce. And then I started to go with some of the younger guys later on, like a Jaden Ivey, a rookie, Lauri Markkanen, who, I knew was going to have a good year. Oh, he's already got 6 points. Damn it. I knew I should have played his prop. He's got 6 points in like the first 2 minutes. So yeah, I just kind of said, all right, I'll take these boring veterans that fall to me. And so far it's worked out well.
All right. Well, congratulations, man.
Well, I didn't win anything yet. It's only, are we even a month in?
But I'm pulling for you, man. I'm pulling for you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, you have to. I think I'm the only alarm guy in there. So
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy at all. Is Fensty's not in that league?
No.
Are you in Fensty? Wait, you're not in Fensty's league.
Fensty's in my home league. Look all the way at the bottom for the last place team. You'll see him.
That just made my fucking night. Look at that. And on that note, we leave the hardwood and we go back to the NFL. It's time to pick the games this week. All right, Adam. We'll start off with a little Thursday night football here. Fensty. I love him so much. I do. I love him so much. But that cracks me up. Poor kid. Because he takes that to heart. Like, he takes that person.
Well, yeah, because he's been in the league for 2 years and hasn't made the playoffs yet. So he's like, I got to make the playoffs this year. So
do you just abuse him on the show? Do you just
Not a lot, but I do get digs in here or there.
You gotta, man. You definitely gotta. I think so. All right. Thursday night football. Here we go. Remember, Adam and I are recording this on Wednesday night. So we've got the news that we've got, and we're going for it through there. Falcons, -2.5 point favorites over the Carolina Panthers. Panthers sticking with PJ Walker, who's looked putrid the last game that he played. Listen, I don't know. Give me your take on this one here first.
No strong field. Weather could be a factor. I guess there's a hurricane or something coming through because I know they moved up the Dallas-Orlando game to 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday. So kind of want to pay attention to how much rain, how much wind. We obviously seen these teams play recently. It was a fun game. I'm hoping we get that again. Probably not on a short week.
Are we in on Cordell Patterson this week?
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, they run the ball so much. He's going to get the ball. I mean, Algier will get the ball too. Carolina's defense has kind of fallen apart the last few weeks.
Will Avery Williams have a touchdown?
Yes, for you.
Fantastic.
Um,
I like your style.
if it was 3, I would take Carolina. If it's 2.5, I'm going to go Atlanta.
I like that. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, definitely on the shorter point spread there, for sure. All right. Apparently, there's a game in Germany on Sunday morning. Fortunately, they're not forcing us into some other bullshit live streaming package that we have to buy. It's the Seahawks against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seahawks +3, Bucks. I got to tell you, man, I get it. Maybe Tom Brady going to the podium after last week's win and him being like, "Oh, that was fucking awesome." Right? I mean, I think people are expecting. I feel like people are expecting the Bucks to like have this big rebound. I worry about their pass catchers. They've been dropping balls left and right. Fournette hasn't looked good. The offensive line hasn't looked good. Um, the normal contrarian in me says to take the Bucks minus the 3 points, but I'm taking Seattle and I'm getting the points in this one. I just think that the Bucks defense is struggling a little bit too much for me right now. And man, I love the fact that Seattle is just they're crushing it with Kenneth Walker on the ground. Bucks run defense isn't the be all end all that it used to be. So I'm taking Seattle plus the points.
Me too, man. I mean, they're just a better team. I know it sounds crazy to say it, but over the last 5 games, Seattle's 4th in defensive DVOA. I mean, they've been really good. And the Bucks haven't. I mean, I don't care about last week. I mean, that was pathetic by the Rams to let that happen. And the Bucks just don't score. They've had so many games where they have 1 touchdown. They got a penalty against Atlanta to bail them out. The defense has been fine, but Seattle's playing really well, man. I mean, Pete Carroll has done a hell of a job. They've been an underdog a few times. I mean, they were an underdog last week and they won. So I just don't think Tampa's any good. They're fortunate to be in that division. Otherwise, they'd be done. So I'm taking Seattle.
Yeah. All right. Houston Texans, the New York Football Giants. It's in New Jersey. Giants are a 4.5 point favorite coming off the bye.
That wasn't it 6?
Was it 6?
I think it opened at 6. I thought. Yeah.
They must have heard that Kenny Golladay was going to play, so they knocked some points off.
For his 1 4-yard catch.
Son of a bitch. I mean, come on, Barkley here. I know that Lovie Smith. If the spread was bigger, I'd probably lean Houston because I just dig what Lovie Smith is doing. But I mean, I honestly I don't know how I don't take the Giants and lay the points here.
Yeah, it was 6.5. If it was 6.5, I'd definitely take the Texans. You said it's 4 or 4.5?
4.5.
Oh man. I mean, the Giants as a favorite scares me. That's the problem. I kind of lean the Texans. I think they can keep it close, man. They've been pretty competitive in their games. They haven't been getting blown out often. So I think I'm going to take them if it's 4.5. I think this could be a field goal game.
Okay. All right. Can't really argue against it. Yeah, Giants have been playing. It hasn't been, smash mouth football.
They've had a lot of fourth quarter comebacks.
They've had a lot of fourth quarter comebacks. You're right. Maybe it's just the hope of actually getting laid again on a Sunday night that's got me.
What happened on the bye week?
What do you mean? What happened on the bye week? Big Jets win over Buffalo. Bye week, absolutely. Great.
The Giants were on a bye last week. So what happened?
Yeah, what happened was I was stroking it in the bathroom when the Jets won. That was it. That was as much action as I got.
He's like, they're not playing, so.
Yeah, she's not in the mood if they're not playing. She doesn't give a shit about football. On a day that the Giants are, her fantasy team in the Man Smart Woman Smarter League is fucking sick. It really, really is. Although she does have Josh Allen, so that is going to be an issue for her. Her team is sick, but like she doesn't obsess over this stuff like we do. So she loves her team, she loves her players, she loves the league. She doesn't really talk a lot of smack, but on a Sunday, she's like, take it or leave it if the Giants aren't playing. Okay. What are you going to do?
Well, at least you know the rules.
I do. I know the rules. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, you got to catch the Jukebox Mondays. Um, go listen on the SXM app and listen to my song dedications over the last several weeks. It's been quite entertaining. Jacksonville Jaguars, Kansas City Chiefs. This one's an interesting one here. It's Chiefs minus 9.5. My initial blush on this game was like it just screamed to me that this was one of those games where the Chiefs put up 45 points and Mahomes just fucking balls out, and because we're all excited about Jacksonville, but this is like where Mahomes and the Chiefs put them in their place. Doug Peterson from the Andy Reid coaching tree, that kind of a master teaching the lesson. Then I start just diving into it for betting purposes. And I'll tell you this, I settled in the weirdest fashion. You ready for this one, Adam? I said, I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm laying the 9.5 points in this one. However, I'm taking the under 50.5. And I'll tell you why. The Jags are like 3-14 against the spread in their last 17 games. Okay. The under has been hitting more often than not for them. For the Chiefs, the weird thing, and this is where it kind of conflicts, because the Chiefs have played close games at home in Arrowhead Stadium. And check this out. The under, I think it's like I gotta pull up the actual numbers, because the numbers are quite interesting as far as the under goes in this game. Where is it? I don't have it committed to memory, and I don't want to misrepresent. So yes, Jaguars 4-13 in their last 17 games against the spread. Here you go. In the Andy Reid era, the Chiefs at home are 51-37-1 in games played in Kansas City. The under 51-37-1. And in games where the Chiefs are favored by 7 points or more, the under is 28-13-1. Obviously, different teams and different schedules, different whatever. But I just kind of thought that was really interesting that Arrowhead doesn't play as that safe home haven for the Chiefs like, say, Seattle's plays for them. It's very different home game dynamic. So, but I said the Chiefs to me are going to win this one. I'm going to have them cover the spread, which is against the grain, but then I'm going to take the under, which kind of goes with the grain.
Yeah, I lean the Jags here. Just Kansas City does not blow teams out, man.
Right.
Mahomes as a 7-point favorite or more is 10-15-1 against the spread. So I know this looks like a game. Oh, Chiefs are going to blow. I mean, look at the Chiefs last week. That was an insane fucking game against Tennessee. If I just read you the stats, gave you the box score and said, what is the final score? You would have been like, oh, Chiefs won what, 31-10? No, they had so many drives and they just couldn't finish. So I'm going to take the points here, man. 9.5, I'm going to take the points.
It was tough for me. It really was, but I definitely, I still feel like this could be that.
I mean, then again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs just, run them over.
I think the Chiefs can run them over, but I think more in the sense of like a 31-14 kind of a sense, as opposed to like a 45-17 kind of a thing. So that's where I was at. We'll see. I put the over under as 1 star, and I put the points, the Chiefs laying the points at 2 stars. It was not my 3-star pick for this week, but I figured I'd share it. Cleveland, Miami. In Miami, Dolphins home favorite, 3.5 points they're laying. Where are you at?
I think Miami, man. I like this team. This offense has been unbelievable. And I'm telling you right now, man, you just got to play Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle props every week. Tyreek was at 86.5 receiving yards. I got it at last week. They got to start putting this guy at 100 because it's every single week. Waddle was in the 60s. I mean, this team, they just can't be stopped. Now, I understand the defense has not been good. Brown's offense is not as good on the road. And the Browns defense has been a major disappointment, man. I thought they'd be a lot better. So I know you got the hook there, but I like Miami here. I'm going to take Miami.
I don't like the hook. I do like Miami in this one as well. It really is. Now, I mean, Brown's defense, Myles Garrett applies the pressure. The injuries in the secondary have been probably the biggest thing. Now, I think Denzel Ward is still out, or
I
he's
think he's back
questioned.
at practice, though. I thought.
Was he back at
I
practice?
thought I saw that note yesterday.
Because
Yeah.
Newsom's back and Greedy Williams is back also, so they are starting to get a little bit better. You can neutralize a good secondary because, I mean, I think Cleveland commits to the pass rush tremendously at just those fucking intermediate routes that Hill and Waddle are running and just picking up yards after the catch. I mean, that's just, you pepper them with that, and then all of a sudden, what? Then they start pulling the secondary in a little bit. They start cheating in a little bit more, and the next thing you know, fucking Tyreek is 10 yards behind their deepest guy, and he's gone for a huge touchdown. As a Jets fan, it really pains me to see it and to say it, but from just a football standpoint, dude, I think it's fucking amazing to see Mike McDaniel's system, how it works with Tua, how he's done in this system, and then the game plan that we've seen where Hill and Waddle are just they're peppered with targets right now, and they're virtually unstoppable. But then you've floated in Gesicki. You've incorporated the tight end a little bit more than I think what a lot of people were expecting, and now you've got Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert in that backfield. That's old San Fran backfield. I mean, it's tough, man. I don't know how the Dolphins are going to stop Nick Chubb, but for the same token, I don't know how the Browns are even going to slow down the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, Tua is 6-0 when he's played at least half the game.
Oh, it's really. I wish I had more Tua coming into the season.
I think we all do.
I was bullish. I turned around on it. I was very anti-Tua for the first couple of seasons, and then I started diving into what McDaniel was going to be doing, and I said in the preseason, I was like, I got to come around on this. I cannot ignore it. I have to look at Tua as a viable fantasy quarterback, especially when we're in a season where everybody's grabbing Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in the top QB. So Tua was that, mid-tier guy that you should have invested in. All right, Vikings, Bills. I wrote this up for Picks-wise. I basically said I'll take the Vikings down to 3.5, but if the spread gets any lower than that, I have zero interest in betting this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of waiting on the news at this point. My guess is Allen doesn't play. Seeing the line drop like this. So I think everyone's going to jump on Minnesota. But I mean, I think the Bills can still win, don't you?
I don't hate Case Keenum. We joked around about the double revenge game narrative, but like Case Keenum can still be a viable quarterback. What I mean, do we think that he's guard? I mean,
just get the ball to Diggs, man.
He's better than Trubisky.
Yeah,
he's better than Trubisky.
And the crazy part is, so Sunday I was like, after seeing the Bills loss, I'm like, okay, what they play next? Oh, Minnesota at home. I am all over the Bills, and I was ready to jump on the line early, and I don't do that often. And then I saw the Allen injury. I was like, ugh, let me wait. Good thing I did, because I was ready to hammer the Bills at home.
Oh, see, the funny thing is I knew Allen was injured. Then I had a conversation with somebody on Monday morning, and I was just like, all right, so this is a little bit more severe. Then I talked to Bowden later on in the afternoon, and Bowden was talking about the UCL and some of the things that he's seen and some of the things that he's heard. And we sat there on the show. We were like, fucking take the Vikings +6 right now. Do it right now, because this line is going to move. And I texted my guy who lays some action for me, and I was like, dude, just put it in right now. Don't wait. The line's going to move, and just give me the 6 points. That's where I ended up with it for that. But I mean, having to write it up, I had to talk about the adjusted line. I couldn't just sit there and say, fuckers, I got the first.
Yeah. I mean, that's, again, the advantage of kind of jumping in early or if you see something. But yeah, I'm talking about right when Buffalo lost on Sunday. I was like, yeah, I'm going to play them. But I did see him, with the elbow at the end of the game. So I was like, all right, let me hold off. Good thing I did.
Excelente. Denver, Tennessee, the third one that I wrote up over at Pickswise.com. This line is now down at -2. I wrote it up at -2.5. I'm perfectly fine taking the Titans in this one. Denver needs to show me a little something more as far as just with the way the Titans run the football. Denver's got a great defense. They've got a great pass defense, but they do struggle against the run. And, I think that they're vulnerable.
Do you think Tannehill plays?
I do think Tannehill plays this week.
I hate rolling with Denver, but I think I'm going to take them.
No, don't do it.
Tennessee is such a well-coached team. I don't know how the fuck they're doing this, man. I mean, it's Derrick Henry and nothing. I mean, they're not even a threat in the passing game. It's amazing what they do. So
you can't stop Derrick Henry. Can't stop it.
Yeah, right now you can't.
Can't stop it.
But the Titans are vulnerable in the secondary.
They are, but off the garbage heap, we got good old Russell Wilson.
I mean, the thing with Denver, they have moved the ball offensively. Their problem has been in the red zone.
Can't finish it.
Right. So maybe they fixed it over the bye. But I'm gonna take Denver. But I don't feel good about it.
All right. Bears, Lions. Bears -3 at home. Lions offenses looked like shit.
Yeah, I mean, Swift barely plays. Reynolds was out. No Hawkinson. I'm going with the Bears. I mean, they just are on a roll right now. It should be a high-scoring game. I would definitely take the over. The Lions have been in very high-scoring games, and so are the Bears. I mean, the Bears have become an over team, man. So give me the Bears.
Do we worry that it is a little bit of that trap? Justin Fields rushes for 178 yards and he throws for 3 touchdowns. And now he's facing the absolute worst defense in the world and the Lions offense has looked like shit completely. Like, isn't that just the way that you end up taking the fucking Detroit Lions and the 3 points?
Sure, but I'm not going to do
it. You know what? I will.
It is a divisional game, so that
to go against you. I'm going to take the points.
All right.
I'm going to buy a half a point, though. I'm just letting you know.
All right.
I'll put it to 3.5. All right. Last of the early games on Sunday: Saints, Steelers. Do tell.
I mean, the Saints are favored. What is it? 2.5?
1.5 now.
Oh, okay, it's move. Okay, I'm taking the Steelers as dogs at home. What have we seen from the Saints that they should be a road favorite?
Horrible.
I mean, come on. And I think Pickett will be better down the stretch. He's got some weapons. Saints were vulnerable in the secondary. Yeah, I can't take the Saints as a road favorite.
I can't either. It drives me bonkers. You ride Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara between the 20s. Excuse me, I'm all choked up.
It would be pretty ironic if you died on this podcast with them.
Oh God, that would please. Dude, how amazing would that be for you, though? Like, that shit would go fucking viral.
I know. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Bender has a heart attack on the fucking podcast.
And Adam does such a smooth job of finishing it and getting him help in time. And then I get and then I'm on all these shows and I have to be emotional and act like I cared about you.
Right. But nobody, but all of a sudden, like, everybody forgets that the podcast continued. You finished making your picks against the spread for the rest of the slate. And then fucking dial 911 for me.
Let's look at the afternoon slate as Howard. It looks like he's dead. Okay. Cardinals and Rams. And that wraps it up. I am going to call 911. Hopefully Howard gets resuscitated. This is Cash It. Catch you next week. Maybe with Howard, maybe by myself. Tune in and find out. Talk about a teaser, right?
Right. His last words were, "I made you, Ronis." Oh shit. All right, before I die, I agree with you on the Steelers 100%. Fucking Saints suck. Colts Raiders. Here we go. Do we go with the narrative that teams who fire their coach always step up and play better and they at least cover the spread or could even possibly win an hour? Do we take that narrative with the 6 points here for the Colts, or are they just that bad? Can Jeff Saturday fix what's going on right now? Can the Raiders not just eat shit for the day and actually play like a friggin' team?
Such a tough call here, man. I think I'm going to take the points. It does not feel good at all because the Colts look horrendous, but it's the Raiders. Like, they keep blowing leads. They look like a team that is terrible themselves. Although, like I said, early in the year, they were playing a lot of competitive games. But last week, to me, was a real dagger for them. So I'll take the Colts with the points. I mean, should the Raiders be this high of a favorite against anyone?
No, I don't think that the Raiders should be favored that high against any team ever. So yeah, I'm taking the Colts and the points as well. Dallas, Green Bay. I said it earlier. Yeah, the narrative is obviously, like you could say, as bad as the Packers are. Well, no, listen, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys going into Green Bay -5, lay the points. I mean, the offense doesn't even, like, that's the thing, is that the Dallas offense doesn't even need to do a whole hell of a lot because of what the defense does. And given what we've seen with this Green Bay offense, the Dallas defense, I think it holds them down. I'm like, this isn't going to be like an embarrassing game where, like Dallas wins it 31-3 and they got like 2 defensive touchdowns and stuff. But I think they just go in there and just take care of business.
I hope you're right. I mean, I would lean towards Dallas. Again, there are some concerns because, at some point maybe Green Bay shows up. But yeah, I mean, when you look at things from a logical perspective, you're like, how can you back Green Bay? And Dallas is coming off a bye as well. The pressure that Parsons could bring. So I guess the one thing you would say is like, really, that we're going to a 5-point underdog on the road. I mean, Packers 5 points at home on dogs. We're not used to seeing that, but I also think this is not the same team, man. And I think for weeks, people have been, they do it with the Packers and Bucks. Oh, okay, well, this is the week. And it's like, guys, they're not a good team. Even the Rams, they were doing it for a while. I'm like, forget about what we've seen in the past. Look at what your eyes are showing you this year. These teams aren't any good. I would lean to the Cowboys too.
You got to do it. You got to do it. All right, Cardinals, Rams. Rams favored by 1.5. I don't know what this opened, the line opened with. It opened at 3. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm going to bet Arizona right now and take the 1.5 because I think by the time we hit Friday, this line flips.
Oh, because you think Stafford will be out?
Because I think Stafford
will be out. But what about Kyler Murray dealing with a hamstring injury and,
I mean, limited. If Kyler Murray is limited in practice, I'm still okay with that. If there's a risk of being out, Stafford concussions and everything that we've seen this year, that tells me. I mean, come on, you don't exhibit symptoms on Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, suddenly all of a sudden shit starts cropping up.
They corrected that. He actually went into the protocol Tuesday.
Okay.
Not that it makes a big difference, but I'm just saying because I think the initial report came out and then they corrected and said it was Tuesday. So yeah, he probably, I guess, showed up to the facility or whatever, and But yeah, I mean, look, this is a shit ass game, man. This is just a fucking garbage game. I'm so sick of watching the Cardinals.
Come on, DeAndre Hopkins, 22 targets.
Not last week. Good thing is, wow. So. Oh my God, there's 3 4:00 games and they're Colts, Raiders, Rams, Cardinals, and Green Bay, Dallas. I mean, by process of elimination, that's the best game. I will get that in New York because the Jets are on a bye. So that's good. At least I can kind of focus on that game. Yeah, I'll take the dog. Yeah, I'll take the points. I hate both teams.
Yeah. I think that this line will flip, but we'll see. Chargers, Niners are the Sunday night game. Chargers, a 7-point dog to the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey against the worst run defense known to mankind. Adam, where's your lean?
I'm taking the Chargers getting the points. I think the line is a little bit too big. I love San Francisco. I think everyone does. They're actually the second favorite to come out of the NFC, even at 4-4, but we see why. But, I mean, it's a primetime game. I know the Chargers have had a lot of issues. I don't expect Keenan Allen or Mike Williams to play. Could be wrong on this. I mean, the 49ers could just stomp them, but I'm going to take the Chargers getting 7.
My gut is to take the Chargers getting 7 as well. But no Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams. Eckler has been good. He's getting into the end zone.
Tough matchup here.
Very tough matchup for Eckler here. Very tough matchup. And even, with DeAndre Carter and Josh Palmer, I'm stupidly, I'm going to take the Niners. Stupidly, because it'll come back and bite me in the ass. Monday night, no Monday night home dog this week. We get a Monday night favorite. Eagles 10.5-point favorites over the Commanders. I just hate laying the double-digit points. I really, especially for a division game.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to back Washington, but I am. You said 11.
10.5.
Okay, I see it 11 on some books, but yeah, I mean, look. Philadelphia has been amazing. They also get extended rest. They played on a Thursday. I don't know. They've done this at least twice this year. They have a team playing on Thursday and then on Monday. Why are you doing that? Like, really? You don't need to do that. But
the rich get richer, Adam. The rich get richer.
Philly has, half of its games, they won by 8 points or more. They've covered this line in half their games, so they have been blowing teams out. What happens, though, is they usually get off to strong starts. They slow down in the second half. It's amazing how they keep doing that, which is why, I mean, it didn't work last week, but you might want to look at the first half line for Philly. I know they got off to a slow start against the Texans and then turned it around. But, yeah, I think and Washington's run defense is good. So maybe they force Hurts to pass more, and we have seen he hasn't put up great passing numbers this year. So I'll take the points.
Points it is. And I'm with you on that. All right. Well, good stuff all around here. Wishing everybody the best of week 10, fantasy-wise, DFS-wise, betting-wise. As always, Adam has his NBA props article up on Pickswise.com. That comes out on Friday. For you DFS junkies, I've got the playbook coming out on Saturday with some example lineups on Sunday. I think that about covers it for tonight. Adam, always great to get a chance to catch up with you, man. Even if it does mean that you and I are going to end up heartbroken in MLB free agency this year.
Well, hopefully you will be. Hopefully I won't.
And I wish very negative things upon you as well, sir.
But congratulations to the Astros. Thank goodness they won.
So gross. Like, you can't even feel good about saying that.
Why not?
Because they're a fucking cheating organization.
No, see, I'm kind of tired of that. Like, so
people don't forget, Adam.
They have been good for so long. Like, it's one thing if, like, that year all those stats were so lopsided. That's not the case. These guys have been good their entire careers. So I don't know, man. I think it's like, all right, they've been good. You know what I'm saying? So
they have been good. Absolutely. Listen, I got nothing but respect for the team, the organization. I just, I
know Yankee fans are very bitter about it.
Very, very bitter. Very bitter, Adam. Very. Yeah, bitter. All right. Well, a big thanks to everybody for liking and subscribing, sharing. You know what? Share this podcast with somebody you know and love. Do that. You do us a nice little solid by expanding our reach, and it's just always nice to be nice to somebody and turn them on to some winning bets and winning numbers, and go from there. That's going to do it for us here this week. We will catch up with you for NFL Week 11 and all sorts of MLB free agent talk and NBA bets as well. This has been the Cash It Podcast.